Sheikh Hamdan has a secret family, and his wife just found out. She did not find out all at once. That is the thing about discovering a secret family. The discovery rarely arrives complete and whole in a single moment that answers every question simultaneously. It comes in pieces. One piece that raises a question, another piece that answers part of the question but opens three more, a detail that does not fit, a pattern that does not match the explanation that has been offered, a name that appears where names should not appear, a silence that is slightly too deliberate to be natural. Sheikha Shaika bint Said Al Thani had been gathering pieces for longer than she would probably admit, carrying the weight of an incomplete picture that she was simultaneously trying to complete and trying not to complete because completing it meant accepting something that was going to change the entire shape of the life she was living. And then the picture completed itself. Not because she finally found the last piece, because the last piece found her. And what she saw when the picture was finally whole was this. Her husband had a family, a real one, a woman he loved, children he had made with her, a private life as substantial and as real as the official one she had been living alongside him. And it had been there the entire time. The children are the part that landed heaviest, not the woman, though the woman's existence and the depth of what she and Hamdan had, and the years that it had been running parallel to the official marriage were each their own weight. But the children, because children are not an abstract betrayal, they are specific. They have faces and names and ages that can be calculated back to specific moments in the marriage. Moments when Sheikha had been present in the official life, fulfilling the requirements of the role, believing that the distance she felt from her husband was something that time was going to close. And the private life had been producing children that the official story was never going to acknowledge. There is a particular cruelty in that specific mathematics, not intended cruelty, but the kind that arrives anyway when two realities have been running parallel without the knowledge of one of the people inside them. Hamdan had been careful. That is not in question. The years during which the private family had existed alongside the official marriage had been managed with the kind of attention that only someone who understands the consequences of exposure would apply. The children were not in Dubai in any way that connected them to the official story. The woman who was their mother was not visible in any public context that could be traced back to him. The life they were living together was built specifically to be invisible to everyone whose knowledge of it would have created problems that the palace was not prepared to manage. He had been careful, and the carefulness had worked for long enough that it had probably begun to feel like a permanent condition rather than a temporary one, like something that could be sustained indefinitely rather than something that was always going to reach the moment when the sustaining failed. The moment came through a source that Hamdan had not anticipated failing, not a security breach, not a journalist, not any of the external threats that the management of a secret this significant is designed to protect against. It came through someone inside, someone with access to information they were not supposed to share, and who, for reasons that the people close to the situation have never fully made explicit, chose to share it. Not publicly, directly to Sheikha. The information that her husband had a family, a woman, children, A private life as organized and as real as the official one reached her through a channel she had not expected, and in a form that was specific enough to be undeniable. She spent time with it before she confronted it. That is the quality of her that people who know this story well always come back to, the dignity of her response to information that most people would have responded to with immediate and visible reaction. She sat with what she had been told. She verified what could be verified. She assembled the pieces she had been gathering for longer than she had admitted to herself into the complete picture that they had always been building toward. And then, when she had done all of that, when the picture was whole and the verification was complete, and the thing that had been a gathering suspicion had become an established fact, she decided what she was going to do about it. She, she did not go to the palace management, did not call a family meeting, did not activate any of the institutional channels that exist in a royal family for the management of situations that threaten the official story. She went to Hamdan directly because the secret family was not, at its core, an institutional problem to be managed. It was a personal one, a marriage problem. The specific and fundamental problem of a husband who had been living a private life of such significance alongside the official one, that calling it a parallel existence was barely adequate to describe its scale. She went to him and she said what she knew. And he, who had been managing the separation for years, found himself in the position of being unable to manage it anymore because she already knew. And the knowing had changed everything that the management had been designed to protect. What happened in that conversation belongs to both of them in a way that neither of them has any obligation to share with the world. What came after it belongs to the larger that the world has been following without knowing its full shape. Sheikha's subsequent departure from the official picture, the quiet reorganization of the official story around her absence, the continuation of Hamdan's public life with the same composed grace that has always regardless of what was happening in the private version. These are the things the world could see. The conversation that produced them, the one where she said what she knew and he confirmed what she said, and the marriage officially became something that could no longer be sustained, even as an arrangement. That conversation the world will never have access to. What can be said is that she handled it with more grace than the situation deserved. That she took information that would have undone most people and responded to it with a composure that mirrors in its dignity the composure that Hamdan has always shown publicly. That she left with her head up, with her story her own, with the specific quiet strength of a woman who has discovered the worst possible thing about the life she was living and decided that discovering it, however it arrived and whatever it cost, was better than continuing to live inside it without knowing. He had a secret family, and his wife found out. And in the finding out, in the specific moment when the picture completed itself, and she finally saw the whole of the thing she had been half seeing for years, something in the official story of Sheikh Hamdan became permanently, irrevocably different. Not ended, but changed. In the way that things are changed when the truth arrives and refuses to be managed back into the shape of the story that was being told before it got there. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. Every week, I bring you the real story of Sheikh Hamdan, the secret family, the moment of discovery, and the truth that changes everything once it finally finds its way into the light.